So let's tip into Captain America first of all. I'd say is probably the best place to start. Um, is it the first kind of movie? Like again, I'm trying to think. Like obviously we had Deadpool and Wolverine, which I know technically is MCU, but it's not really MCU. Like what was the last like MCU movie that we had? I'm trying to think right now.
I mean, that's all I can think about is Deadpool and Wolverine.
I know. Like there was only one movie released last year. The year before that, God, I'm actually blanking right now. Someone in the comments tell me or whatever. Like, what was the MCU movie previous to this? Like, I was it something like wasn't like Shang-Chi or something, was it? No, couldn't have been.
No.
Anyway, it's the first MCU movie in a while. Um, we have a good few movies coming out this year. We've got Thunderbolts as well. We've got the Fantastic Four coming out in July. So, like, I think MCU's kind of packed this year, which is great. What did you think of Marvel's first installment on the big screen this year? Did you like the movie? I know you're a big Hulk fan. This to be and to a lot of people kind of feels like the Incredible Hulk 2 without the Hulk in it. It kind of felt like a Hulk movie just without the Hulk in it. So I haven't spoke to you at all. Like I'm getting your raw reaction right now. So I don't know if you liked it, if you hated it. I gave it a 6.8 on my first kind of I put a video up on the channel because we hadn't been live in a bit. I was like, I'll upload something. So I just put up a little video of my kind of initial reactions the day after I saw the movie. I was live
Mhm.
over on Twitch and I kind of just, people were asking me in the chat and I kind of just put down my initial thoughts. But I'm curious, what do you think? Did you see it on opening day or when did you actually
Y-
watch it?
Yeah, I saw it on Thursday on the 13th instead
Okay,
of the
okay.
14th. So
Right, okay, nice.
I was able to check it out a little bit sooner.
Yeah, nice.
Like around 7 o'clock, like not even like a midnight shun or anything.
Hmm.
So I was able to see it pretty well in the day. And
Cool.
I was still kind of sick at the time. So like it was, but you could hear the rest of the people in the theater. They
Yeah.
were having trouble. They were like coughing and hacking and whatnot.
Oh
So it
shit,
wasn't
yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
I know like it seems like there was a wave going through. But other than that, like the movie was okay. It wasn't like, oh my God, it was amazing, but it was just like it had this, it had a nice touch to it. I understand what the theme was, and I think it hit the nail on the head with the theme,
Hmm.
but in terms of like how they got there was kind of it was a little bit rough,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, they were trying to use characters that don't necessarily pertain to Captain America all too well.
No,
And
especially Sam Wilson as well. Like,
no, not even Sam. Sam is fine. That's the whole point of it. Is Sam.
yeah.
It's Ross and like the leader.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even call himself the leader. He's calling himself the hero. And I was like, what the hell? The hell's the
Yeah.
matter with you? It
Yeah.
was just, I don't think that the design for the leader was very good. I don't even think that the design for Red Hulk was good. Um,
Mm.
Considering that it was just like a CGI Harrison Ford. You can still tell it looked like Harrison Ford. It didn't really try to make him look like a monster in any way.
Hmm.
And that's the whole point of these, like of the Hulk variants, is that they
Yeah.
kind of look like monsters,
Yeah.
except for the She-Hulk variants where they just look like badass versions of themselves.
Right. Yeah. Like I feel the same. There was a couple of like concept leaked art for the leader going around on TikTok and Twitter and all these places.
And it
And they
looked
look
better.
yeah, yeah, it looked better. It genuinely looked better than what we got in the end. I was kind of saying, it kind of looked like a fucking like car battery exploded in his face or something. Like it was kind of like just
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is really weird because I saw one picture and it was like his head looked a bit bigger, like longer, which kind of ties into what happened at the very end of the Incredible Hulk, where like you kind of the last shot we saw of him was his head starting to expand.
Yeah.
So I was like, that makes sense. Like, he kind of looks like a cone head or whatever, and he's got hair on the top, but he's green and he's got like a goatee and all. I was like, this kind of makes sense. But then they seem to just like in the final cut, just go a completely different way with it. Like, so, like, because I saw there was like some leaked like behind the scenes stuff, and he looked more like the concept art than he did his final form. So it's kind of strange that they went that way with it. I'd love to know like what kind of drove the decision to go that way because it's a real out there kind of look for him. And I know maybe they were kind of just trying to go on the scare factor and make him look like a lunatic or something, but it was a weird choice, bro. Weird.
Very weird considering like he's a lot more articulate about the things that he does, and like you can kind of feel it
Yeah.
whenever you're not seeing him on the screen. What I would say is like he actually did a pretty good job portraying the leader, but I think it was a little more done in terms of like what's the word? Like I'm just trying to get revenge, where it's not so much that he's trying to get revenge, he's just trying to get back what he deserves.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of weird because he's the one that gave Ross like the basically the Red Hulk kind of
Yeah.
gene, like,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting, but the fact that he didn't want to take that for himself is very odd because the leader believes that the Hulk's powers are his.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a bit
So
strange.
yeah, so why wouldn't he just use those powers for himself? And I understand he's trying to like the whole revenge kind of scheme. I get it,
Yeah.
but like it just didn't seem to fit the theme to me as well as I wanted it to. I think they could have
Yeah.
done a much better job um like explaining that he's just trying to basically leave
Mm.
and do his own thing, and he's smart enough to do so. So I don't know why he's acting like he's uh so like
Trapped as
inclined
a
to,
prisoner.
yeah, because he's like, oh, I just want to be pardoned. It's like, you're a fucking villain. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
who
Get your own posse
cares?
and just start doing evil shit like
Yeah,
like
just
all the other villains.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Like
it was a bit weird, bro. It was like it's like how did Ross just keep him prisoner for so long as well? Like, because it's like it's been 17 years, right? And
right.
it's like he's meant to have had the leader under his thumb the entire time, and he's creating this medication which is saving his life. Well, little does he know it's actually turning him into the Red Hulk. It's like it kind of feels like he's been under like the thumb of Ross for like 17 years and not been smart enough. Like, the whole movie, he's kind of talking about like how he knows I've done the calculations, I've done the probabilities, this is what's happening. It's like, could you not like do these calculations on yourself and see that you're getting played? You know what I mean? It's like so fucking
Right.
obvious that you're being played and you're not going to be pardoned, you're not going to be set free. Like, could you not have seen that coming a mile off? Like, it's been 17 years you've been trying to get this pardon or something. It just felt, I don't know, bro. It felt kind of rushed. It felt kind of lazy. Um, I just, you know, I think it would have been a better payoff if Red Hulk wasn't in the promo, and then we kind of just were blown away by like the scene where he changes into the Red Hulk. Like, imagine we didn't know that was coming, and that just happened. You'd be like, "What the fuck?" It's like Ross is the Red Hulk. Holy shit! Like, again, big sweaty nerds will know that this is coming, but the general population would be like, "What the fuck is going on? There's Red Hulks now!" Like, the way the reporter of the movie, they're red now. Like, that's what a lot of normal people would be like. They'd be like, "What the
They
fuck is
fly
going
now?
on?" Yeah, yeah. They'd be like, "What the hell is going on?" And I think that would have been really good. Now, I kind of understand from Marvel's point of view, they really had to promote the Red Hulk thing, because if you take the Red Hulk out of this movie, like, what's the movie really about? Like, it's not like the story felt kind of flat to me, you know? Like, I'm not gonna just sit here and shit all over the movie for the next half an hour. Like, there was parts of it that I liked. I've never been a big Sam Wilson fan, as you know, but I did enjoy a lot of like the combat and a bit of the banter in it. Left like I loved all the Isaiah Bradley stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I liked the little Bucky cameo, was kind of cool as well. Like, some of the like the fighting and stuff seemed a bit ridiculous. Like, I hate when he
Uh,
drops like subsonic and hits the ground, and it's like his legs will be shattered. He's a human. Like, it's like it took me out of it. It just felt so weird.
on
Um,
it really felt a little too choreographed, didn't it?
yeah, some of it did. Some of it felt okay. Like, there was a couple of leaked scenes that went up online the week before the movie came out, and I watched those scenes, but they weren't finished. And when those scenes came up in the movie, they actually worked better in the final cut, because they had like tense music in the background and maybe some more
Mhm.
like sound effects of like shit breaking and stuff like that, so it kind of felt better. Or maybe it was the fact that I was watching it in like Dolby IMAX, I don't know. But when I watched those clips online, it was like terrible, really really bad. But then when I
Mhm.
watched them in the movie, I don't know if it was just the fact that you were watching it in order and it kind of flowed better or something. Like, instead of it being like an out of context scene, it did flow better. But like, for the most part, I don't know, like, it was fine. Like, as I said, I gave it a 6.8. I think, I checked IMDb before we went live here. It's sitting on a 6.1 right now. The box office is just at about 200 million. I'm surprised at the numbers it's actually bringing in. I think the rating is probably fair though. I don't think it really deserves much more. Like I see like some people like giving it a 2. I'm like, you're ridiculous. It's not that bad. It's not the fucking
Yeah, it's
worst.
not that
Yeah,
bad.
no, it's not. Definitely not. It's watchable. Some parts were enjoyable. I had a couple of laughs. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of ticking the boxes of a superhero movie. Obviously, I would like it to be better. I would like the story to kind of fit better, and I felt like some of the choreography was kind of bad. Not the choreography. Some of the dialogue was bad, and some of the jokes just didn't land. I didn't really like the new Falcon as well. I'm not a big fan of him. He just seems like real kind of cheesy and geeky, and it just
He,
seems like a little
I,
idiot. Like I'm just kind of like, bro, just calm down. Like
really like
I don't like it at all, bro. Like when he takes down the guy and he's like dancing around, he's like, I'm the best and all. It's like, oh, bro, stop. Wasn't into it at all. Like I even
eh,
turned to my missus during the watching of it, like in the middle of the theater. I turned to my missus. I was like, oh no. I was like, I don't like this kid at all.
really, I thought he wasn't bad at all. Honestly, I liked his demeanor. I thought it worked really well, especially with Sam, considering that he kind of matches that energy like in the normal sense because he has his quips as well. And I thought it worked really well. Like if it was like that guy and you know Chris Evans, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like Sam Wilson himself is goofy enough. So this is like they've gone goofy times 5, like for this guy to kind of make Sam feel more mature and stuff. Because like when we kind of first come across Sam, he's a little more like that, and Mackie's very much like that in real life as well. So I'm kind of like, I have enough of that. I don't need that times fucking 5 for his new sidekick. Like, you know, it's
Mhm.
my personal preference. I know a lot of people enjoy him. I don't. That's just the way it is. Like, you know, can't like it all, unfortunately. I did like Harrison Ford in the movie. I did feel there were some scenes where it kind of felt like there just wasn't enough material for Harrison to act right. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like there was some scenes where I don't know if it was the script, the writing was just really bad, or the dialogue was just poor, and like you could see that Harrison just wasn't being directed properly. I think that kind of just stood out to me in some scenes, and I just got because you know that Harrison's a good actor, you know what I mean, and there's some scenes where it's just like it just felt like it didn't work, and I think that's just down to just poor script,
Mm.
or maybe poor direction. I don't know, but for the most part, I think he kind of saved the movie in a lot of senses for me. Like I thought he was really good. I was again, I don't really know much of the history of the Red Hulk and stuff like that, but I was listening to Den of Nerds podcast, and he was talking about it. Shout out to Josh. He's always feeding me full of knowledge. But he was saying that like some of the original Red Hulk comics, they didn't know who the Red Hulk was for a long time. He kept kind of just bursting in and causing ructions and then disappearing, and he would transform back into Ross, but no one knew it was Ross. And then it was like a kind of
Right,
reveal. I would have
which is
liked that to happen.
that's what they should have done in the first
Yeah,
place. They should have just
yeah,
had a Red Hulk
yeah,
out of nowhere, and they
yeah,
would have had like even if the leader was involved,
yeah,
like and like all of a sudden you see the Red Hulk, and then like he could just claim that he's controlling him, but in
yeah,
reality he's not. He was just using him as a scapegoat so they
yeah,
can use like essentially like amass whatever weaponry or goons that he can get, and then like create his own posse of villains, and then essentially do his own thing and be like, "See you later. You're dealing with that now." Like, who cares? Like that would have been fun.
yeah. Like
But
imagine if you had the Red Hulk appear in like Act One, late Act One, start of Act Two, and like just it just happens out of the blue, and everyone's like, "Whoa, what the fuck? There's a fucking Hulk! Holy shit!" And then the next scene you see Ross, and then you see the Red Hulk, and then they don't like there's a bit of mystery to it, and then you find out that you finally see that transformation that we see at the end at the press conference, and then that goes into the final fight. That would have been cool because people were like, "Holy shit, it was Ross the whole time." But
well,
yeah, it just
well,
I don't know, it just felt so rushed.
well, even then, I would have put him at the beginning. I would have just had him make like create chaos, and then eventually we see it on the news. You see Sam like seeing it on the news, and they're like, "There's this Hulk that's been going around causing mayhem," and Captain America's like, "Bruce or anything?" Like Bruce isn't anywhere near here, or like
Yeah,
he's just saying like Bruce shouldn't be around here. It's like, oh no, this one is red. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
oh okay, well then
Red, geez, I better call Bruce.
Right.
Where's Bruce at, guys? Why is the Hulk not helping us here?
Right. So then like, well, like not that tongue in cheek. That would be dumb. I wouldn't like that at all.
That'd be
I
too real. That'd be real though. Like, and as well, sorry, like, like Bucky, like sees all this happen and it's just like, ah, yeah, Sam will be grand. Like, don't worry about it. Like, where, like, is there no other heroes that can help Sam anywhere in the vicinity? Like Sam's left fighting a Hulk by himself. It's kind of wild.
which is, I mean, it's fine. It's not going to be like an easy way of doing this, but like it'll be somewhat like of a struggle, which I think is necessary. But this is what I'm talking about. Like it's so hard to set this up properly without having the actual Hulk.
Yeah.
This isn't a movie to just throw a Hulk in. Like you literally need you need the Hulk.
Well, Bruce was referenced a couple of times in the movie, and I was kind of sitting there the entire time going, like, maybe he won't be in the final fight, but he'll show up at the very end, or he'll be in an after credit scene and be like, Jesus, hey Sam, well done. Like, sorry, I couldn't help. I was blah blah blah. Like, at least explain where the fuck he is, like, or something. But there's like no mention, like, there's no actual mention to, like, there's references to Bruce from the past, but there's no like mention of to where Bruce is right now, what he's up to. Like, it would have been kind of like they could have even just put a quick scene in where maybe like Mackie checks his phone or something and is like, oh no, Bruce is in Mexico. What the fuck? Who's this? Like, or you know what I mean? Like just anything, like just try and connect it.
I know,
So
but
annoying.
but the more you talk about it, the more it still doesn't work. You have to have him in the movie.
I
You need
would
to
have
have
I
you need
would
to
have
have a
100%.
reason for him. You would have 100% like wanted him to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like it
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean? You've got the leader, you've got Red Hulk slash Ross, you've got the return of Betty in this movie as well. I know it's only for a second at the end, but it's like these are all key characters from his first movie. And it just felt so weird that he wasn't in it at all.
Right. And
So weird.
it's a very strange situation because you're not giving anything to anyone at this point. You're just trying to you're trying to establish these characters at a point where it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
You're not trying to you're not trying to give Red Hulk any sort of agency. You're not trying to give the leader any sort of agency. You're just kind of throwing them in because you have the right to do so and it somehow fits for your script. But in reality it doesn't. Like it there's no it doesn't have any legs. There's no legs to stand on for it. I don't know what they were thinking. It just doesn't seem to it doesn't click with me, man. Like if they had done exactly what we were thinking and basically just put the Hulk in or Banner and then like this whole situation of like it's you and it's like it's not me. Like I haven't changed in a while. Like I'm like I don't know what you're talking about. Like look at me, I'm green. Like I'm not red. Like even if he was like the regular Hulk, the smart Hulk, I like that would have been much better than nothing. But like it's just it's so off-putting that
Yeah.
they would treat this as like a Godzilla movie where it's like, oh, is he gonna change? Oh, is
Yeah.
it? No, he's not changing yet. But at the end, we get to see him, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, just like, give the show some legs, give it something for it to stand on, and obviously you needed Hulk for this. You needed to have the big green guy handle all of the business. You needed to have Sam working alongside him so that they can clear his fucking name,
Yeah.
which would have been a really good story, is clearing his name. And
Yeah.
it is just so fucking like underwhelming.
Yeah. No, it really was. It really was. Like, I was watching a video the other day. I can't remember what the video was, but someone made a very good point that it was like, a lot of these movies that we've seen in the last little while, it's like they're not really fighting like their known villains. They're kind of like pushing these stories out and trying to mix and match stuff a lot. And like this movie is a perfect example of it's like why the hell is Sam Wilson fighting the Red Hulk? Like it doesn't really line up to you know Captain America's villains, which you kind of mentioned at the start. Like it's like it just felt really out of place, and like Thunderbolts are going up against like Sentry and stuff. Like it's like it just doesn't really feel in line with comic books and in line with the source material, you know. It just seems like a bit strange.
They like, I don't know if they're just throwing darts and
Yeah,
going,
yeah. Mix and match, like flipping cards. Like, okay, so it's like, who's the Fantastic Four villain going to be? Oh, Galactus. Okay, that kind of works. Like, we got lucky this time.
we got
Who's this
real
guy?
lucky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
It's like Galactus, but it's sitting right next to fucking Modoc. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah, yeah.
shit, we almost
Yeah,
had to do that again.
we were close. But that wouldn't fucking surprise me either, though. Like, you know, they're like, oh well, it landed on Modoc. We're doing Modoc again. You know, that honestly wouldn't fucking surprise me at this point. Um, yeah, trying to talk nicely about this movie as well. Um, I did like in the final fight where like he kept like shooting like daggers, like which were like meant to be feathers off the wing, and they were vibranium, and they were like penetrating his skin
Yeah,
and stuff. That was cool. That was cool. I was liking that, and I was like, oh, like you know, maybe he'll like throw bigger ones and they'll do more damage or something like that. Like, because I was like, that this is his only fucking weapon in this fight. Like, because you know, he takes a punch, game over. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, it's like the wings are vibranium. He has like the kind of nanotech helmet, but like that's kind of it, really, right? Like the suit itself isn't vibranium. Like or it might be like a kind of vibranium material or whatever, but like it's not like a full suit. Like he's not like Iron Man. Like it's not like a full suit of vibranium. Now maybe the last suit is, but like it kind of felt like he just couldn't really do much, you know. Like if the wings go
No,
out of action, he's a goner, like you know. So it's like how much can they do with the wings is the point I'm making, you know. And like the first suit like gets like damaged by like a regular knife during that fight with just the random thug. And then, you know, in that same suit, like he drops like supersonically and lands on his feet. And I was kind of just like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I know we're watching comic book movies, but come on. Like, I was like, that is ridiculous. Like,
yeah, he has to stop
breaks
himself at some point.
he breaks the sound barrier, just hits the ground at like, you know, fucking 600 miles an hour. And it's like, wait for it. And then boom. It's like, what the fuck? It's like his whole body he'd be crushed like a Coke can. Like, you know, I was like, this is crazy. And I think I saw when I mentioned this in my chat the other day. So it was like, oh, well, Iron Man does that all the time. And it's like, yeah, but he's got like thrusters and he
He's
kind of
in a
slows
suit.
down. And he's in a suit of armor as well. Like, so
It's
like he's
fully
in a
padded.
shell. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I know like it would probably hurt him over time as well, but it's like, you know, let's kind of try be a little real at this point. I know it's a superhero shit, so you know, you're not going to be real, but
You have to like you have to deal with some realities, but at the same time, it's a movie.
yeah. Yo, Derpy, welcome in. Let me clarify that the city of Philadelphia made more violence after the winning of the Super Bowl than the Red Hulk did in this movie. I'll just read that out for anybody who might be listening to the podcast.
all,
Welcome in. Appreciate the comment.
all he
What would
did
you?
was destroy the White House and then destroy like some trees
Yeah,
and a street, and that was it.
yeah, yeah. Well, I suppose at least it wasn't too bad.
Oh, and well, and the monument, the Washington Monument.
And his favorite place to walk with his daughter got pretty fucked up as well. The
Yeah.
blossoms. So Betty's not going to be too happy about that, I'm sure.
God, Ross gave up so fucking easily.
Yeah, yeah. He just had to like they just had to mention Betty, and it was like boom,
He
game over.
he could
Film
have
is
just
finished.
left. He
Yeah.
could have just left.
So I was thinking about this while you were talking as well. It's like, you know, obviously Incredible Hulk 1 happened in 2008. This is kind of it really does feel like a sequel to it, but you know, because there's a lot of mentions of Bruce, and I don't know if this happened for you, but when I was watching the movie as well, every time they mentioned Bruce, I thought of Edward Norton because like I
Yeah.
was so in that mindset of the first movie that every time they mentioned Banner, I was thinking of Edward Norton, not fucking Ruffalo, which is so weird. But like, correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously we know that Ross and Banner have like a very kind of heated history with each other, right? Obviously, after the events of the first movie. But
Yeah.
then obviously Ross goes on after that. He starts working with the Avengers and then he goes against the Avengers and he's creating the Accords and all this sort of stuff. But you don't really kind of see Ross and Ruffalo button heads too much. They kind of stay away from each other. It's kind of weird. And now it's kind of like they're kind of bringing it all back. 17 years later. It just felt like really kind of weird to me, storytelling wise. Like this is meant to be a connected universe. Like you would think at this stage that they'd all have moved on. Like, it's like
So
I don't know, it just felt a bit weird.
so I compare that akin to the toxic relationship where you kind of separated for a while, you're at your friend's house, and the boyfriend tries to call the girl and she doesn't want to talk to him, so you use like Captain America or Iron Man to talk to Ross instead of Bruce,
Yeah.
like to give no sense of connection to Ross whatsoever, as if they've completely broken up. And it's
Yeah.
just it's the weirdest fucking thing, man. Like you have no connections after the 2008 movie. And it's
Nothing.
like what do you like, are you not going to establish anything whatsoever? Is it because of, you know, God, do they have the rights to the Hulk yet, or do they just have the rights to Red Hulk?
I think they have pretty much the rights to Hulk now per fully, but I think there's
Is it
some like publishing
distribution
stuff.
rights?
Yeah, distribution rights, I think, or go to Paramount or something.
And there's and
Something
like
like that.
there's such bitches about it, dude. Like you're working with Sony to do Spider-Man. Why can't you do the same thing?
Yeah. And like I think they are, because I think there is a Hulk movie coming, but this would have been a perfect place for a Ruffalo cameo, and it would have just made so much sense. And I think it would have just made people maybe, it might have made the story work a little better. I'm not saying put Ruffalo in as like a second lead or something. Like
No,
that
you
would
have
actually,
to. You
well, I
have
think
to,
that
man.
look, obviously in an ideal world, yes, that's the way it works. But I understand from a business point of view, you can't bring Ruffalo in and turn it into the Hulk 2 when you're trying to push Mackie to the front of pop culture. Like,
But
that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to
but
make
you said,
Mackie
but
the
no, wait, wait,
leader
wait,
of the
wait. But
Avengers.
you said it yourself a long time ago, Finto, that Hulk can't have his own, like Hulk can't be the main character in his own movie. And even I agree with that because I've seen Planet Hulk. A lot
Yeah,
of the times the characters that are portrayed in that movie are talking way more than Hulk. They
yeah,
just need him. That's all I'm saying. You don't
yeah.
have to put him in the front, just put him on the
I
side
know, but
and he'll
when
still
you
work.
put him in anything, he does kind of take over. He's got that presence. It does become, for a lot of people, the Hulk show. And I think from a business point of view, they're like, this is Anthony Mackie's first time in a leading role. It's his movie. We got to make it all about Sam. It has to
Oh,
be about
boo,
Sam.
boo,
That
fucking
is
boo.
it,
I don't give
though.
a shit.
I know you don't, but that's the business decision. That's what Disney are thinking.
Well,
That's
they
what
put him
Marvel are
at
doing.
but that's the problem, is that they don't understand that if you put your person at the forefront and you give him screen time, then by all means give him the meaning of like why he's in the front.
Yeah,
Like give everyone a reason to understand why he deserves to be at the front. And they do in the movie, in my opinion, they do in the movie, but they just don't have a story behind it to give it as much agency.
yeah,
Like I really liked the conversations that he had with Ross, with Isaiah, with anybody. Basically, he was saying like I'm taking up the mantle. I understand that I'm a black Captain America, but I'm now Captain America. So you
yeah,
had to respect me as Captain America in that sense. And I'm trying to show everybody that I matter, that I can do the things that Captain America does.
yeah,
I'm just in a different suit. And I felt that, but like none of the story really gave anything to like make me feel like I wanted to see more.